Hey, welcome to Three Conservative Gimps, where we give you the political poop going from the local scene to state, national, and international, and you'll enjoy it. You'll get to learn something about it. So, boy, let's get the show going. Oh, I gotta turn off my sound. There we go. Michael, where's that echo? I got my YouTube tab open. All right, let's get this show on the road. Let's welcome all the way from Muskogee, Oklahoma, on his way to Stewart, Florida tomorrow. Let's welcome Lloyd Mendenhall.
Hello, everybody. How you doing, Art? Oh man,
I'm doing good.
the party's already started down there.
So what is that chopping sound? You sound kind of choppy.
I don't know why.
Yeah, let me bring Charles in. Maybe he hears it. I don't know. There you
Hello.
go.
Hello,
Hello, Charles.
hey Charles.
Yes, I do hear that. Hey, I do hear that chopping
All right.
from you, Lloyd.
All right.
Yeah.
Let me
Did
do
you
one or
bump
two
your?
things first. All right. Let me come out and go. I'll come back in.
Oh, you sound good now. What'd you do?
Oh, I don't know. Got closer to my mic.
It's
Ah,
all that's all gone.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Okay.
Maybe you had a loose connection, and whatever you did, you fixed it.
No, I didn't have. I haven't
No,
touched the
now it's
There,
mic.
back.
now it's back.
All right.
Uh,
Audio. Uh,
Ladies and gentlemen,
how
with
about now?
technical difficulties.
Uh, is it
Say
any
something,
better?
Lloyd.
Hello, something
Yeah,
Lloyd. Hello,
Hello,
is it still
hello.
there?
it's okay now.
Yeah.
I think I had noise suppression on.
Ah, there you
So
go.
yeah, it was. Yeah, so it was. Uh, probably cutting me off. It was clipping me.
Ah, okay. So yesterday was Liberation Day. Yay! Do you feel liberated? Liberated from
Uh,
what? What happened yesterday, Lloyd?
well, he imposed a boatload, literally, of tariffs, and I think a few people have already. Yeah, it's sort of one of those come to Jesus meetings with everybody around the world, and I think a few of them have came to see have came to their senses. I think others are, Canada. Oh well,
Yeah,
like we really need some round bacon,
right. Yeah.
really. So whatever, and so that's no loss there. But he's got a lot of he caught a lot of flack over it from the left, obviously, but things are going along really as he planned, and you know, so I don't know. To me, it was a big frou frou about nothing,
Right, right.
because
Oh,
we all knew it was coming.
speaking of Canada, they've got a prime minister that doesn't even live there. He's not even. Yeah, he's lived outside Canada for many, many. How could they pick somebody that doesn't live there? That's what I like to know.
He doesn't live there, or he's
No, he hasn't lived there for years.
who is it? Are you talking about their what we would call a conservative? Uh,
No, he's not a conservative. He's another liberal, from what I understand. The new guy that's running it.
right, right. Well, you gotta. liberal inside the Commonwealth nations means something completely different than
okay.
what it does here. The
Mhm.
liberals are what we would call conservatives.
Oh, okay.
It's the Labor Party that are the
Ah,
Democrats.
okay.
Think of
Uh,
labor unions, and Democrats. Okay.
right.
So the liberals are more for about liberating and unity, although what's his name? Trudeau was not for that.
Right. Hmm.
Which is why he ended up having to resign.
Right.
But yeah, so I don't know. As far as I knew, he lived there because he's been campaigning there across the country. So
Well, maybe something changed. I don't know, but I heard that the new guy is not even from Canada. Like, well, how can that be? Hasn't?
well, yeah, that would be my question too.
Yeah.
Who's your source? Always got to ask.
Yeah.
Who's your source,
All
Art?
right. What?
Because where did you hear this? Because I hadn't heard this.
Okay, I heard it out from conservatives, either on Fox or maybe I heard it on the radio. Let me look.
Yeah, because I hadn't heard that, and I've been kind of keeping up with that a little bit, but I could be wrong. TJ, I'll be leaving early tomorrow morning. I'll get in there about 12:30, uh, Florida time. So, and I'm driving.
Lloyd,
I'm
you're
coming
still
into
chopping.
do what?
You still sound choppy.
Well, let me back out and come
It
back.
kind of
All
comes
right.
and goes, Lloyd. It's weird.
Yeah.
Well, let me see if I've got something open that doesn't need to be open. So,
Okay, the new guy is Mark Carney, not Art Carney, but Mark Carney. Leader of the Liberal Party. Okay. Maybe I was wrong. I don't. Okay. Hmm. So the tariffs went into effect, and the stock market, well, it took a deep dive, went down 1,600 points today.
Well, it's just because people, people are uncertain.
Right.
People and companies are uncertain about what the future holds.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Of course, if you
And
have money and can invest, this is the perfect time.
right. Mm-hmm.
Even if you lose money over the next month or two, things will come back.
Right. And the way I look at it is, if the market goes down today, that means I'm buying new stock when my next paycheck comes out, and I'm buying more stock for my 401k. I'm buying it at a cheaper price, which is better in the long run, because then it'll start going up eventually. And so I put on Facebook, Happy Liberation Day, and there were a couple people poo-pooing it and saying, "Oh, so you're for inflation," or Ryan LaTourette says, "Oh, DJI drones are going to cost more." If I remember correctly, Trump put some tariffs on China in his first term, and I don't recall DJI drones going up very much. What say you, Charles?
Well, I wasn't back then. I wasn't really paying much attention to drone prices. I don't even think I was chatting on drone shows in way back then.
Welcome back. How do you
I am
sound?
back. Oh, is this any better?
Yep.
Yeah, for now.
All right. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So we were talking about yesterday was Liberation Day, and stock market took a tumble today, went down 1,600 points, and
Yeah, but it was rising yesterday, so
oh, okay,
it was on a rise yesterday. So I don't. The stock market the stock market one is having to do some corrections anyways,
right,
and I think I don't look at the stock market as an indicator of what things are going on. I look at inflation rates.
right,
Hey, it's like he said yesterday. The price of eggs are almost half of what they were before he came into
right,
office. You know, and that right there is showing that what he's doing, everything he's done so far has been successful.
yeah, mm-hmm,
And with it, for him to have accomplished what he has in such a short period of time, and to see results, because it usually takes a little while to get the kind of results he's already getting. So
right,
he's accomplished a lot. We got
right,
foreign companies coming in that are building and uh, that are investing in the United States.
mm-hmm,
They're not buying up our property, but they are coming in here to build their cars
right,
so that they don't have to pay the tariff. And that's what people don't understand, or
mm-hmm,
they choose to ignore. Is
mm-hmm,
if they build here in the United States, guess what?
mm-hmm,
They pay the tariffs. It's real simple.
right, mm-hmm,
Part of this is because a lot of this has to do with both what Canada and Mexico were doing as far as our auto industry went. And Canada, they were building a lot of the Fords and Chevys and stuff. They were building them either in Mexico or in Canada, and they were using the it wasn't the free trade agreement, but it was the one after that, after he got rid
yeah.
of it, the next one.
Oh, the
And
NAFTA,
huh? Or after NAFTA,
NAFTA,
yeah. Yeah, I guess it is the free trade agreement is what we have with Canada. Anyways, they didn't have to pay anything to bring cars in, you know, from Canada, and they were underselling us. But yet when we go to invest something or go to export something into Canada, they were charging us 300 and 400% hikes.
right, right,
So
mm-hmm,
he says, real simple, uh, we don't want your stuff.
right,
So you're going to pay it, you're going to pay a tariff. And of course, a lot of and because they thought, well, we'll just slide it, we'll just go to Mexico and Canada and do it. But he went ahead and put the tariff on them as well,
right,
thinking that they thought they would get by with it. And he says, no, you're not going to.
right, mm-hmm,
And this is all about being given uh, a fair share at the table.
right. It's about leveraging, you know,
Yeah, it is. It's like he said he understood. Uh uh Japan doesn't want us selling them rice because
right,
that's one of their bigger commodities.
right, mm-hmm,
And it's also one of the things they grow locally. Now here's something that I saw is that he put a tariff on Australia or Australian beef,
right,
and the problem and I know this from talking with Grant. The problem is they grow a lot of beef there, but they export 90% of it. So the cost of beef for the Australians is absolutely sky high, you
right,
know, because they have to buy American beef and now it's going to be higher. So it's going to force Australia to start shipping less of their beef out. Uh, and maybe it'll actually help Australia by bringing down their prices if they actually consume their own beef instead of taking it somewhere else.
right. And that's what happened with Argentina back in the day. They used to be the economic powerhouse that was ahead of the United States at one time.
Yeah,
They were
yeah.
exporting their beef and their produce to the UK, and then they said, "Nah, we're not going to do that anymore," and their economy just collapsed. And
Well, they went more socialist too. So
yeah, that's true.
It was
after
the
that.
socialism that killed them,
Yep.
and which is a warning to us. But
Mhm.
because prior to that, all those ex-Nazis down there knew how to build an economy, so they built one from 1940s on up.
Right. And also, the new guy that they got in there is doing the exact same thing Trump's doing,
Yeah,
slash government waste,
yeah,
and he turned
yeah.
that country around,
He got rid of 200 departments on the first day in office.
right, and he's got inflation down to where it's at least double digits, low double digits,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
before it was in 100,
yeah. It's in
over
triple
3
digits.
digits.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was crazy. Uh-huh.
Oh, I
Hmm.
apologize. I've
Yeah,
been up.
you
Yeah, well,
oops.
I apologize. I've stayed up I got up early this morning and tried to go to bed early last night. I didn't get as much sleep as I wanted, but
Mhm.
once I was up, I had to try and stay up so that I can go to sleep tonight and then get up at,
Mhm.
4:15 to get ready to
Right.
catch my ride to Tulsa. So,
Well, you get sleep on the plane.
yeah, right.
How long is the flight from? Are you going straight through from Tulsa?
No, I wish I was. No, I got a 45-minute layover in Charlotte, North Carolina.
That's not
And
too.
so it's like, uh, I think it's like 2 hours, a little over 2 hours going into from here to Charlotte, and
Mhm.
another hour or so from Charlotte down, and then
Okay,
coming back, I'll come through. Uh,
Atlanta.
yeah, Atlanta, Georgia. Yeah,
Mhm. No,
and
TJ, I won't be coming to Florida this year. Yeah, and we got Uncle Bill's toys watching. Good, good, good.
yeah,
Yeah, good. So yeah, that's what's going on with the tariffs, and it's not like he's really going hog wild. He's doing half, of what they're charging.
oh yeah,
So
yeah. Like he says, it's a nice tariff. It's
yeah,
a kind tariff,
tr-
but it's going to make them stand up and pay attention.
right.
And
Mm,
as much as I like DJI drones, the cost of doing business with China.
hmm. Get
Damn it.
that coffee going.
Yeah, well, if I start drinking too much coffee tonight, I'll be awake all night and then won't be able to get up in the morning. So
Yeah.
my son offered this evening or this afternoon. He says, "Did you want to drive up, or you want me to drive you up?" I said, "Well, I didn't know if you'd be able to." He said, "Yeah, I can drive you up." So he's picking me.
Oh, good.
He's swinging by in the morning to grab me and drive me up in the truck. So
Hmm.
I want to be ready. So like I said, I got to get up, and I took my yearly bath today. So and washed my beard for the first time since last year when I quit shaving, and
Hmm.
trying to look and smell presentable when I get down there. And
Right.
I do understand I'm getting to sleep on brand new sheets though. That
Good.
Bill's wife was kind enough to
Oh, good.
put on there for me, so I don't
Get
have
that
to smell
feeling.
left. Yeah, I don't have to smell leftover Bill.
Yeah, there you go. So Bill made a good point where they know he's going to succeed, which is why they're fighting him. They
Yeah,
truly thought he was going to fail. They just said, "Yeah, that's right," you
yeah,
know, and
that's
that's
absolutely right.
why And there's $3 trillion in investments coming. I mean,
Yeah,
that's awesome, and that's going to lower the unemployment rate, and it's
yep,
going to raise revenues and taxes, even though they're going to pay a lower uh, uh, corporate tax,
right.
and so that's going to help stimulate the economy. And I think you know,
Well,
and
if you've got, and it's going to take a couple of years before we're going to see some of this because it's going to take them
right,
2 years to build these some of these factories that they're bringing in. But
Right.
with that said, uh, you start getting more people employed. You have more. Oh my God, I'm sorry. You have more tax coming in,
Yeah.
and you have more revenue coming in, even though the corporations are getting
Hmm.
the lower income tax. And I would like to see, because he kind of mentioned about just going strictly a tariff based nation and doing away with income tax.
Oh, yeah, that would be nice
That
because
would be
that's what
nice
we did prior
until
to World War One.
1914. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Hmm.
Yeah. And because of that, we kept it going. And that's what I think part of what eventually caused the crash in 1929.
Mm.
Because, all right, yeah.
Yeah, well, and also a lot of that was loose banking, where they
Yeah.
gave
Yeah.
loans to people. All they had to do was put 10% down to get a loan, buy stocks, and that just fueled
Yeah.
the price of the stock market to skyrocket. And
Right.
then
Right.
finally it crashed, and the banks were left with nothing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Because they were borrowing against future earnings. They were, like you
right.
said, 10% down, and they could get a loan for, let's say, $3,000, which would buy a lot of stock back then.
Yeah, that was,
you know, and they could buy $3,000 worth of stock. And as it kept climbing, that was fine. But eventually the bubble burst, and suddenly those notes, that money that they had earned,
mhm,
and those that were very smart were the ones who bailed out before the crash.
right. Hmm.
And there were some that did it, there were some that made it through it. But I mean, that was one of the most devastating crashes. You had people jumping out of the skyscrapers,
Yep.
you
Yep.
know,
But
but
the one thing that it did bring about was the SEC,
right.
the Security and Exchange Commission.
And the FDIC and the
Yep.
uh, FSLIC, which Federal Savings and Loan Insurance Corporation.
Okay.
Savings and loans had their own division.
Okay.
And when 2000, about what, 2000,
Oh, and they passed the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act.
which was that what, you couldn't borrow money to buy stocks? Is that what it was?
Let me look that up.
Hello, Brian.
Smoot-Hawley Tariff.
So,
That
Lon,
was
you're not going to be there tomorrow, from what I understand?
okay. The implemented protectionist trade policies on the United States. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, this was to protect our trade with other countries. And then that's also caused the recession to grow bigger, even though we only got less than a third of our economy was based on
Hey,
trade.
Brian.
Still had a uh, big effect on our economy and the world economy
Right.
as well. And then plus it gave the rise to fascism, and it really got communism going in the
I'm still here. I just had to go
in
off
Europe.
camera for a minute.
Okay.
But
So
that way, if I yawn, you can't see me.
what else is going on? Didn't Reagan impose some tariffs? I seem to remember he had some tariffs that was mostly on automobile companies and motorcycle companies, and that caused companies like Toyota and Honda to start building cars here in the United States.
Is it
And
Honda or Hyundai?
Hyundai is Korean.
Yeah, well, I understand Hyundai is supposed to be building here too. They announced it yesterday, I think.
Oh, okay, that's good. It's
Yeah.
Hyundai. I think it's Hyundai.
Well, he kept having that problem too.
Uh-huh. And
Well, you'll be missed, Lon.
oh, darn Lon. Okay. Let's see what. Oh yeah, and on motorcycles, you put a tariff on motorcycles like Honda and Kawasaki, and
Right.
so they started building them here. So what it did is it got companies to start building here and hired more people, and I believe they didn't have to pay the tariffs when they did.
Right.
So,
They do. They do make some here, but they're
mhm.
supposed to be doing an expansion, I think, what I saw
Mhm.
yesterday. I watched it all, but my mind right now is kind of elsewhere, so I'm in a fog anyways, and it's like, man, I'm just waiting for this last print to come off, and then uh I'm going to go to bed as soon as the show's over. So,
Yeah, that's
um,
what I'm gonna do too.
so
I'm gonna
but
be
what else happened besides the tariffs? What else did you have on your bullet list there?
well. Basically, that was most of what it was. What else happened? Yes. Oh, how about those idiots that tried to do the gotcha with one was a senator and one was congressman. The congressman guy. They tried to. Some young kid says, "Are you going to stop having our secrets on, some kind of internet portal?" And he quipped back, "Does your mom make your hot pockets and make sure that your Game Boy is on?"
Yeah.
Oh God, that was funny.
Yeah, yeah,
And then the other one was the guy said, "Yeah, I just got fired from HHS, and it was illegal." And then he started spouting all this nonsense like uh, disabled people won't be able to get it, get something information or something. And the senator said, "Well, maybe you deserved it."
yeah,
So, and that was
yeah. There's a lot of whining and crying going on, and and of course, that was one of the things they kept going on and on about. Yeah, well, Musk is leaving in just a week or two, and blah blah blah. No, he's not. He's not leaving. He under federal law, he can only work for 130 days in
Mhm.
an appointment like that, in a special
Right.
appointment. And
Mhm.
I guess they could extend it, but he intends to have his work done by the end of that. So,
Right.
and
Mhm.
what's going to end up coming down to it is they're going to eventually say, the president has a right to choose you know, who he has for his staff members, or
Yeah,
for
that's
his,
right.
under his the executive branch.
Right.
And
And,
yeah,
isn't it funny that they're all bitching about Musk, but they're not bitching about Hegseth and all the other cabinet appointees. They weren't elected either. Yet they're
yeah.
bitching about.
Well,
Well,
see, Musk didn't go through a confirmation hearing. That's what chaps their
Well,
cheeks.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
They have
Mhm.
to be confirmed by the Senate before they can take a cabinet position. But look at all the other federal employees, a lot of them just political appointees that have been allowed to work for all that time. Let's see.
Plus, all these other people aren't crazy rich. You know, they're trying to. The left is trying to appeal to what they think of as the common man by being supposedly anti-fascist and anti oligarchy.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Okay, while that is exactly who they are.
Yeah.
They are, you know, the oligarchy. You know, they
Yep.
are the fascists.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Mhm.
Yeah. They and some of the things, that's the
Oh,
whole thing.
sorry to interrupt you, Lloyd, but they
Well,
are if they haven't, they are going to be bitching. And I'm assuming at the top of their voices about people like Hegseth and Tulsi Gabbard because of the signal nonsense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They have been, but it's kind of quieted down lately. There
yeah,
we go.
I can't remember what it was the other day, a week or so ago, and I don't remember the circumstances, but one of the congresswomen or one of the senators, said, "Oh, I know what it was. Is when Hesketh gave that speech overseas, and to was that, anyways, it's one of the speeches he gave, and
What?
the Congress start, this one congresswoman said, "Oh well, he'd been drinking, because I think it was the speech he gave at the NATO thing, and
Oh,
yeah, he was drinking. He was drinking a glass of water."
yeah.
But they accused him, because he made these, they were in, it was when he was in Germany. He talked about, now this is where fascism really is, and with the freedoms that have been lost here, you guys need to work on your freedom of speech, or you're falling
Right.
back into the same. Well, that pissed a lot of the people off, but it's true. They've completely corrupted. They have no freedom of speech over there. Uh, but uh, and they said, of course, some congressman or senator, lady senator said, well, he obviously been drinking, when he came up there, because of the fact that, years ago, and the GIs tend to, when they just get back, they drink a lot because they've done it over there.
Yep.
Sometimes you drink to cover up what you're dealing with. And,
Yep. Yeah.
he caught hell from his family and he got his life straightened out. And, now it's like, but because they made a mistake in the past, like, I guess we're not allowed to make mistakes. We're not allowed to be human beings, but, at least it's funny how the Democrats make all sorts of mistakes,
Right.
like it turns out Morning Joe, which Tyra said they should call him Morning Wood because he's, instead of Morning Joe, because he's a real beep,
Ah.
but
Okay.
anyways, but it turns out he made a mistake that, they did not see, that they really should, the press really should have done a better job of in reporting on Joe Biden's decline,
Right.
and he knew it. He knew it was coming because, and he basically said it was Biden's fault they lost.
Uh huh. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
Waltz got the drunk driving. Yeah,
Yep. And didn't he kill a kid? I think he killed somebody.
I don't know if he did or not,
Killed
but
or severely injured the kid.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Uh.
nonetheless, he was, they're the guy that was supposed to be, because in order to be the president, you have to be, in order to be the vice president, you have to be somebody who's qualified to be the president.
Right.
And uh, so if Waltz had a DUI or a drunk driving, but going by the fact that Pete Hegseth cannot be the Secretary of Defense, because
Right.
he had a drinking problem. Well, then what makes him think Walsh could be a president someday, should he have to
Right.
take up that position?
Yep, that's
You
true.
know,
That's true.
and also, did you see about the gal in the fencing
Yes, I saw
competition
that.
took a knee? Yeah,
Yep, yep. And then she got booted from the tournament. Yep.
yeah, yeah.
It's like it's just
I heard her
crazy
today.
why we're letting men compete in women's
What?
sports.
And this guy had competed last year in the men's division,
Oh,
and this year he's competing in the women's division. And like she says, he can compete by choice either in the men's division or the women's division. She says, I don't have a choice. I
right,
was born a woman. I cannot compete in the men's division. I don't have the strength and the tenacity. So I have no choice. I have no recourse. But yet I'm the one being penalized,
right.
because I don't want to, you know, let them set up their own category. There's mixed. There are mixed competitions they could be in, but this was a
Yep,
woman's competition, and this guy had competed last year as a man. This year decided to compete as a woman,
mm,
and this woman's in. This gal, this was her 12th year to have competed in this particular fencing tournament,
right. Mm-hmm.
and she said, "I just couldn't do it." She says, "So far I've been able to avoid it." Like,
Uh-huh.
she says, but this one I couldn't avoid. So
Right,
she took the black card and went home. And
right,
the thing is she put in a lot of time, effort, and money to be in this competition,
right.
just to have to walk away from it because one of the members on the board of directors was supporting the transgender person.
Oh,
So
okay.
they had their own ideology there, and
Right,
so that's the kind of stuff that you know and to me it was a clear violation of Title IX,
right. Mm-hmm.
but and I don't know how they're going to get by with it. I suspect it's going to be challenged in court somewhere,
Right. Mm-hmm.
you know, but we'll see.
Well, speaking of transgenderism, here in Colorado, they're pushing legislation for uh, kids that are transitioning. If if a teacher uses a pronoun, they get,
Right.
oh boy, it's getting crazy here in Colorado, where they want to. Oh, and then they want to block parents. Oh, say parents get divorced, they want to block one parent from keeping the kid from, you know, uh, transitioning, because let them grow up, and then when they're an adult, they can make the decision. Why are they, forcing this? Where that they either grow
Well,
out of this, or they have a therapist to talk to them and say,
this is well, and this is the thing. This is the left's way of diluting the male gene pool. They're trying to, you know,
right, hmm
they're everything from masculine toxicity to or
toxicity.
whatever.
Yeah, that too.
My tooth was bothering me, so I had
Yeah,
to
I
pull it
know.
out.
I saw you. You don't have your children.
Yeah, I took it out. It was bothering me.
Oh,
So
okay,
yeah,
okay.
but
Continue.
anyways, everything from that to this whole gender identity stuff, this is
Right,
their way of making the male weaker
right.
or trying to make them weaker. Not
hmm
that the women are going to take control, because what they're doing is they're putting these wimpy girly men uh,
Uh-huh.
in positions of power, and they're turning the boys into girly boys now.
Yeah.
And
Stop it, Lloyd. You're being discriminatory.
well, so what?
Yeah.
I think it's a crock. I'm a conservative. I think it's but it is part of that whole. The best way to defeat us is by when no longer, and this is what they're discovering is this this current generation of 18 to 20-year-olds that are out there now, not the ones that were here 10 years ago or 5 years ago, but the ones that voted this time around, the new 21-year-old, 18 and 21-year-old.
Yeah.
They're voting predominantly conservative.
Yep.
Because all they've heard about is masculine talks. Yeah, anyways, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Boy, I'm having problems with that word tonight.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, they're having to deal with this, and they're tired of hearing about it. They're tired of being told that they're a no account, they're not worth
Yep.
anything. And it's like, wait a minute, where was all? We didn't have this kind of outrage back in the 80s. Well,
Because
Don, you're a
you're
special
that.
exception.
Yeah.
Bless your heart.
Yeah. Bless your heart. And the little short yellow bus you ride on. Yeah, that's right. So they're discovering that the new young men, and I think it's more than just young men. I think it's young people in general.
I think,
They're rebelling. They're
they
like,
are.
oh, yeah, what the hell is this shit?
Well, I got a grandson. His older brother is he's from that generation that was accepting of all of this stuff, and I worry about him, but he's not my kid, so I don't say anything about it. But
Yeah.
that doesn't mean he doesn't get teased, about his rainbow glasses and his man bun, and but he's got a fiance, and it's a girl.
Oh, okay, that's good.
So,
That's good.
But yeah, he's pretty naive when it comes to some of that stuff.
Right.
And but his younger brother, who's autistic, now he's a conservative.
Yeah.
He's been a Trump supporter since he was like, well, he's 17 now, so he's what, about 12 years old, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, or younger, 10 years old, and he was
Yeah.
a Trump supporter, and he just saw something in Trump that made him like the way he fought, the way he stood up for people, and he still thinks that. But it's he's in that new generation, that generation that's finally saying we've had enough. So yeah, she'll straighten his ass out.
Yeah.
I need to step away for a little bit, guys. I apologize, but I need to step away.
Alrighty. Well, Charles and I will keep this live.
All right, you keep it going.
So what's going on in your neck of the woods? How are this kind of stuff going on in New York? Is it crazy? Is it just as loony as Colorado, or what?
Well, I don't get to see a lot of it. I live in a rural area.
Right.
It's sort of like split between, to simplify it, red and blue. So I don't get to see a lot of it, but every once in a while, the headlines of something ridiculous that Hochul will say or do floats by.
Right.
I think honestly we have bigger fish to fry than this, than these kinds of things. Given what am seeing happening on a larger global scale, I'm kind of wondering. I mean, yes, we should fight for our values, but I don't know how much good that's going to do us, considering what's going on globally, especially in concerns like what's coming on with AI technology and stuff, and quantum computing. if people think that AI has caught on quickly with regular computers, once quantum computing gets here, and of course, supposedly quantum computing will be, in terms of affordability, way beyond the price of the regular person, but certainly not beyond the price of governments and mega corporations.
Right.
And that's where everything that we're trying to fight against is coming from.
Right.
So it's just like, are we, I'm beginning to wonder, are we damned if we do and damned if we don't? Like, no matter which way we go, it's coming, and it's going to be forced on us no matter what.
Right. I mean,
I hate to say and sound that way, but I can't help by the things that I'm observing.
Right. Right. And I mean, is it going to look like what we see in Terminator, where
Well,
AI
it certainly could be that way,
or it could be that way, or we could be totally wrong, and it could be totally beneficial to mankind. Who knows? We gotta wait and see. I mean, that's like, when the automobile
we can't wait and see, because by the time it gets here, if we wait and see, it'll be too late.
Well, I mean, that's what happened when the automobile came along and replaced horse and buggy. People were poo-pooing, oh, that'll never catch on. That's just too expensive. And then old Henry Ford figured a way to mass produce it and lower the cost down to where it was at one time it was over $700 for a Model T, and he brought it down to about $250 to where the average guy could buy an automobile. And it brought cars to the masses. And remember, Studebaker was originally a carriage company.
Yeah.
And then they got in the automobile company back in the early part of the 20th century, right around the time of Henry Ford and the Ford Motor. And back when my dad was a kid, I think there was like 30 different automobile companies. And then after the Depression, most of them merged together with different companies. Yeah. But you still had cars like Studebaker, Packard, Nash, Rambler, and Willys Jeep. And then after World War II, some of them merged together again. And some of them finally did go out of business. Like, let's see, Studebaker went out of business in the early 60s. Packard went out in the late 50s. Let's see, Nash, Rambler, they merged to become AMC, and they bought out Willys Jeep. And then they later sold out to Chrysler, and they just wanted to keep cheap. They got rid of Eagle. And yeah, so now I don't know if Chrysler's still around. I think they got rid. Did they get rid of? I think they got rid of Plymouth.
Yeah, but Chrysler is still around. Yeah.
Yeah, they're part of the Fiat now. And yeah. So, and Ford, let's see, they dropped Mercury, so it's just Ford Lincoln. And GM, they got rid of Pontiac, they got rid of Oldsmobile and Saturn and Geo. They got rid of those. And yeah, so, and then back in the 50s, Chrysler, or maybe the 60s, Chrysler got rid of the DeSoto line. Do you remember the DeSoto? That might might have been a little bit before your time, but yeah, they.
Well, yeah, I don't even. I'm not even sure that I've ever actually seen one like in a photograph
Oh yeah,
or on a car show. I mean, me and my mom are kind of car buffs, and we
right,
do watch, car show programs, but I don't recall having seen a DeSoto on a car show program.
right. And let's see, who else? That's about it. So, and then you got all these foreign companies that came on the line. The small companies are the ones that built small cars, and that was all the rage after the oil embargo back in the early 70s. People started buying smaller cars, and
Mm-hmm.
and sadly, it took a while for the big three here in the United States to finally catch on and start building smaller cars, and to stay competitive with uh, back then it was called Datsun. Now it's Nissan and Honda and Toyota. But now Honda, Mitsubishi, and Nissan have all merged together. So I don't know what they're going to be called after
Huh.
that. Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Cool Cat. Hollywood, not only Hollywood, but the Songwriters Guild. Yeah, the musicians yeah, are at risk of AI. I mean, I played around with it. Lloyd's played around with this. I think it's called Smooth. And there's several other iterations of AI companies out there where all you have to do is type in a few phrases and then pick a genre and they just make a song for it. Yeah.
Yeah, not with music, but I did play around a little bit with Leonardo AI for a couple image things.
Right. So what else is? Yeah, there was a big to do that. Oh, Jasmine Crockett. She's all crowing about how we shouldn't be impeaching these judges because they're the backbones of our judiciary, and we got to follow the not the rules, but the precedent. Uh, follow the rule of law, and yet she's the same person that co-sponsored a bill to impeach Alito and Thomas from the Supreme Court. I'm like, oh man, that's rich when the Democrats crow about impeaching the judges. Oh, welcome back, Lloyd.
Sorry about that.
Mhm.
Anyways, so what I miss? Anything important?
We talked
No,
about AI and how that's going to affect Hollywood and the music industry, and we got talking about automobile companies. How, like for example, I was talking about Studebaker was a carriage company where they built carriages back.
Right,
I think the company started in the 1840s by the Studebaker brothers,
right,
and they built these fancy carriages and hearse for the masses. And then the automobile thing came along, and they decided, hey, that's the future right there. And we were talking about AI and quantum computers, how which way is it? Is it going to be like the Terminator and be a danger to humanity, or will it be like the automobile companies where it brought transportation to the common man?
Yeah. Uh, I mean, we lose. I mean, with AI, I see it going. And it doesn't matter whether you go the Terminator or the Shangri-La point of view on it. What I see happening, and it's already happening, is we're losing some of our creative abilities. We're relying
Right.
way too much on this.
Hmm.
There's a time for AI, and there's a time that it's not necessary. And I think, I mean, YouTube is. I mean, here we are on YouTube, and YouTube is a perfect example.
Hmm.
You can't hardly watch any videos that talk about anything worthwhile that isn't already AI. It's scripted. You got that voice. You can always
Oh,
tell when it is because
Yeah.
they mispronounce a word.
yeah.
But they don't mispronounce it in such a way. Like with me, when I say wash, well, okay, obviously that's colloquialism. That's a
Right.
you
Hmm.
know, but when they say wash, they say wash. You know, sort of
What
sound like,
like
yeah, sort of like
like
Forrest Gump, or
Forrest
something like,
Gump?
yeah. And it's just it's means these guys. I mean, you got a lot of the guys that were big in YouTube that are retiring now,
Yep.
like Demolition Ranch. He just
Yeah.
retired.
Yep.
You know, uh, there's so many of them that have gone by the wayside, and they're being taken over by AIs. A real
Right.
human. Those guys were out there. Guys like the Demolition Ranch, they were out there, uh,
Doing
doing
the heavy
things.
lift.
Yeah, doing the heavy lifting, and now
Yep.
you got AI that does all the work, and the guy that I like watching a review on, say, 3D printers when it's done by somebody who's actually using it,
Right.
and not just a where you see them where you see them doing the unboxing, you see them dealing with failures and and successes and stuff like that. But when you see those that they just show clips and video, but there's nobody, you don't see who's doing it. You just
Right.
hear it being narrated,
Hmm.
you know. And that kind of thing, narration was okay back in the days of when you was watching the Disney wildlife stuff that they had back in the 60s. Okay, you just heard the guy's voice,
Hmm.
but but they were showing you something, that. But at least it was a real human being, uh,
Right.
that was narrating those Disney uh,
Hmm.
episodes and those Disney films that. But now it's just you got this computer generated crap. I get 5 calls a day from somebody that is computer generated, and they're all trying to get me to finish up my pre-qualified loan of $49,000. And as
Uh-huh.
many times as I block the number, I have I may block it 5 times a day, and I got 5 new numbers the next day,
Right.
and it's all computer generated. Some of them are pretty realistic sounding, but you can still tell,
Right.
especially
Hmm.
if you don't know who the hell they are and you haven't applied for anything like that,
Right. Hmm.
and it's just uh so I do not care for AI, you know.
Right.
I
Hmm.
mean, that's why I like watching Billy Kyle. He sits there and he tells you the way
Yep.
things are. Yeah,
Hmm.
he'll show me. I mean, his bullet points are scripted, but any good creator is going to script their stuff. Unlike us, that we just say whatever the
Right.
fuck comes to mind,
Uh-huh.
And uh, but there's just so many of them that it's not just scripted, but it's the fact that they let the AI do the narration for them.
Right.
You
Hmm.
know, and and hell, they're getting to the point they even let the AI, pick the scenes out for them and do all the work for them, and they just
Right.
sit back and bring in the numbers. That's why uh, they're so. And if they weren't making money or doing something, there wouldn't be that many channels. you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, how many shorts do you see a day that's you know, and well, if you like and or if you enjoy this video and it makes you feel good, please like and subscribe. Now
Uh-huh.
the rest of our story, and they go on. And okay, everybody does that to a point, but you can tell it's a computer generated thing because yeah, they go to tell a story and it's takes 5 minutes to tell the story, but they drag it out for 30 minutes. Like,
Right.
really? You
Mm-hmm.
know, and we lose our creativity. You know,
Uh-huh.
we're going to become like those guys with the huge foreheads on Star Trek, or those
Yeah.
you know the guys that made the people dance and made Uhura and James T. Kirk kiss for the first time on
Mm-hmm.
first interracial kiss on television. Like, I didn't
Yeah.
think anything about it. I just thought it was sci-fi. So
Yep. And that was Plato's stepchildren.
Plato's stepchildren, yeah,
Yep.
that was
Mm-hmm.
the one.
Yep.
But look at what they became, you know, because they had you know, the technology had taken over, and now they were looking for other forms of
Mm-hmm.
entertainment because they'd done it all, and they, you know, if we get that way, that's what we're going to turn into, you know.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, you know who's not going to use AI is Mary Burke. Yeah. All right. Well, we did just a little bit over an hour, so we covered a few topics other than tariffs, and we explained what tariffs are, what they can do, and you know, and just give you the straight poop and not, you know, oh, the sky is falling. Oh, these tariffs are just going to devastate our economy. Because they're afraid it'll work. And you know what? Bill's right. I think the tariffs are going to end up uh, working, and I think the economy is going to be stronger because of it.
Yeah,
And
I do too. I do too.
I think it scares the shit out of the Democrats, and that's why they want to block it as much as they can. So I want to thank everybody in the chat for
Well
coming.
said, Don.
You all have a great week. Don't forget my show tomorrow night, where Lon will be there. So
Yeah,
you all have a great evening. And if those of you going to South Florida Drone Meetup, enjoy that. I will be watching as much of the live stream that Bill's going to do as I can. I don't think I'm working this weekend. We're kind of slowing things down a little bit at work, but
yeah.
so have a great evening. Good night, everybody.
Good
Good night,
night,
folks.
everyone.
Yeah.